All right, so hi all, it's Tiffany. I hope this setup is okay. I'm experimenting with setups and lightings ahead of my Zoom with TJ Jackson this coming Friday. But once this is not about TJ, this is about his brother Taj and how I and my little circle of friends managed to meet Taj Jackson when we were in Encino. Um, and that's quite a story. And I suggest that you pause the video now and go get a drink, go get a snack, because this is going to be kind of long. And I hope I can get all of the details and stuff spoken out because I've never really explained like the whole story of what happened. I did a very, very brief version of it for my friend Carlo because he was vlogging during the Thriller Nights party at the Havenhurst Estate. Um, but he was there to enjoy the party, so he didn't tie me up. I didn't tie him up, so we went our separate ways and we met back up later. But um, meeting Taj Jackson, yeah, that's it's still weird to me to think of it, and that this actually happened. Sorry, my ring light is reflecting on it, but that this actually happened. This is on my coffee table, so it's like literally the first thing you see when you walk in my apartment. Um, why is my computer making noises? But yeah, so this obviously is not at a costume party. I'm in street clothes. He's in street clothes. This was at a Starbucks in Encino, probably the fanciest Starbucks I've ever seen in my life. But at a Starbucks in Encino, and we're going to go back through the folds of time to find out how I got here. Um, October 28th, 2022. So I don't forget. Because I already got the dates mixed up once. But yeah, okay. So to preface this, I'm 36 years old. Don't say I look it. And I have been a 3T fan since I was 12 years old, since 1998. And I do know the exact date. I hunted the date down last year. It was October 5th, 1998 was the day I became a 3T fan. And yes, I do know the date that I became a Michael Jackson fan also. That was June 20th, 1995. Um, so the first time I saw 3T, it was I've said this on Twitter so many times. Like a lot of the stuff that I've seen with Michael Jackson in a pre-internet time, pre-smartphone time, was basically just running across him on TV. Right time, right place, TV Guide, whatever. And so one evening, I'm 12. My mother's like, Tiffany, Michael Jackson's coming on. So, of course, my hyper ass was like, when, where, where, mom? So it was Fox Family Channel. They don't even have that channel anymore. That is a channel that is freeform now, and it was Famous Families. Because I remember I watched two of them. I watched the first one, which was the Jackson family, and sometime later it was Elvis Presley, his family. Um, so I watched the Jackson family, and I was an idiot before before this episode. Like I was aware of, Jackson 5 and all that, but I was not aware that the four other guys singing behind Michael Jackson was his brothers. I'm sorry. I didn't know. I was 12. Blame it on youthful ignorance. I did not know that. So, towards the end of the program, it was about an hour long if I'm right, because I haven't watched the whole show since 1998. So like over 20 years. But towards the end they started talking about like the new generation, and I know several of the next generation Jacksons now perform, like Austin and 3T and some other ones who I can't remember the name. I believe Marlon Jr. is a rapper. If I'm wrong, correct me. But they started talking about 3T, and I had vaguely heard of 3T um, just bumming around MTV and all this sort of stuff in the early days. And, but I didn't know, first of all, that they were Michael Jackson's nephews, that, they were Tito Jackson's son. I didn't even know Tito was married. Tito had kids. Until, I feel so bad, until, until that episode aired. So, I saw them. And my story is, I almost fell in love with TJ because, they showed all three of them. But TJ did the most talking like he does now because he's very, outgoing and not quite as shy as the other two. Camera panned over. There's Terrell. I was gone. And it panned over to Tosh. And in a lot of stories where if you see where I write fan fiction. Where I write Taj, he always has his braids like done back at the top of the down because that's exactly how he looked in that particular interview. So, still 1998, I can't Google it. I can't go online. I can't do anything to try to find 3T. And the problem that I encountered is I'm an American. I'm in Texas. Go Texas. And ooh, go Cowboys. And they were more popular in Europe. And that was a hurdle. Because there was no way I was going to be able to go to Europe, period. Um, this was even before my parents, got sick and needed my help. My father saw action in Europe during World War II. There was no way in hell he was going to go back there. There was no way he was going to let me go there. There was no way he was going to let my wife, let his wife, my mother, go to Europe. So that was out of the cards. Plus, 9/11 made me afraid to fly. So yeah, there's that. So, okay, I like 3T in the background of my mind. Um, I didn't really get to really into 3T at the time, because I was more focused on Michael Jackson at the time, because, he was still with us and everything. So 2005, there was Michael's, I don't know how to phrase it. I don't want to call it a trial because that was just the justice system having a headache because he absolutely did not do anything. And I would go to my grave believing that he did not do anything and um, defending his name. The times get better. But after that little misstep of the judicial system, Michael went to Bahrain, he disappeared. So, which I don't blame him for going and taking time for himself and to be with, his family or his friends or, just do him for a while after, you know, that. So I said, I'm going to get back into 3T now. I'm going to see about that. So, this was back in the day, 2006. I went to the mall to Sam Goody in the mall. And, so I'm digging in the racks and everything. So I'm like, okay, the Jacksons. So I went looking at Jacksons. I found Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, Jermaine Jackson, even Latoya Jackson. No 3T. So I said, okay, so their name starts with a number. So I'm going to go look at, you know, stuff with, stuff without letters, basically. Like numeral stuff. So I'm digging around and still no 3T. So finally I'm like, well, frick. Um, go up to the guy that's the clerk that works there. Trust me, this is all leading up to that. I just have to explain all of this so you can understand how momentous that was. Oh, there's Noonie. And so I said, hey, I'm trying to find, you know, some albums from this band called 3T. Now at the time there were only two albums, Brotherhood and Identity Out. And so the guy starts typing around. He was like, well, we don't have it in store. Big surprise. We don't have it in store, but I could order it for you and have it, you can come pick it up when it's delivered. So I said, okay. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna have to order it. So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, he's gonna order these CDs from like New York or from Los Angeles, just Atlanta maybe, just normal, the normal big music hubs in the United States. This man looked at me and he said, I just vividly remember that because there was a poster from Neo's first album on the wall behind him when he was typing and he looked up and while he was typing, I was contemplating buying the Neo album, which I did. And he said, it should come in about 2 weeks. So, this is pre-Amazon, so you just had to damn well wait. So I said, just casually, where is it coming from? And, I'm in my purse trying to find the money to pay for this. He says, Munich. I'm sorry, what? He says it's coming from Munich. And I'm like, Germany? It's coming from Munich, Germany. And he said, yes. Okay. Okay. So I said, okay, I have an American CD player. I had no idea about this sort of stuff. It's like, will it play on an American CD player? And he's like, yeah, we just have to get it from, our retailer in Munich. I was like, okay, fine, whatever. So yeah, I had to wait 2 weeks for that to come from Munich and not tell my father that it came from Munich because my father served in Germany and he wasn't familiar with 3T. So I honestly know that if I would have said, well, Dad is coming from Germany, he would have thought I was listening to some German music or some German artists. And it's like, no, they're black and, Latin and Latin. So black and Latino. So, that's going on in the background while that's happening. So in the meantime, I have my computer. I'm starting to get into the forums. Y'all remember forums? I started getting into the forums. And so, like, my main thing was Terrell. Like, he is my favorite member. Like, any boy band that I like, I have my favorite member. So it was like Terrell for 3T, Howie for the Backstreet Boys, Lance for NSYNC. I know. But Lance for NSYNC. Um, and, it was just, okay. So there was some talk going around. Now, this is 2006, 16 years ago. So I was 20 at the time and not as cool as I am now. But this is showing you how long this took. Okay. just, I just cannot stress that enough that this was like 2/3 of my life that I've been chasing this. And I told him that. Okay, 2006. So there was some talk in this forum. I don't even remember the name of the forum, but it was a 3T forum. And they were like, oh, well, Taj will possibly show up to chat with us on his birthday. So I said, okay. I said, I'm going to be here August 4th, 2006 for Taj's birthday. Unless the house is burning down around me, I'm not moving. So come around. And now in the meantime, I had been trying for ages on MySpace. God, I feel so old. I feel like I'm dating myself. But on MySpace, I had tried to talk to all three of them. And I even remember I followed Kim Kardashian on there. Amazingly, Kim said hey. But Kim did say hello to me. But, you know, they didn't. So, I'm sitting there, I'm waiting. And I had had a friend who was with me for the whole weekend, and she went home the day before. So, August 3rd, she went home the day before. Because she was like, Taj never came. We were like, well, whatever, I'm sorry. I'm sitting there, I'm waiting, and the little chat is going on. I'm just sitting there like this, watching the screen scroll. I used to have actually that chat log on my old desktop that has since been that has since gone on to heaven. But I see it come down in bright green. Tosh has entered the chat. So I was like, Tosh, Tosh entered the chat, Tosh entered the chat. So I type and it shows my name. So I said, happy birthday, Tosh. And my name is Tiffany, but spelled Tiffeny. And he said, oh, thank you, Tiffany, with an A. And I was like, oh, it's Tiffany with an E. And he was like, sorry, thank you, Tiffany with an E. And that was it. I can guarantee you he does not remember this. But it made my life. I'm screaming in the den. My mother's like, what the hell is going on in there, Tiffany? I was like, Josh Jackson said hi to me. And she was like, well, she knew that I like 3T, but she didn't know which one was which. And so she was like, well, which one is that? I was like, this one with the braids. And she was like, oh, okay. You know, because my mother couldn't have cared less. She couldn't have cared less. So that was it. That was my entire interaction with Dodge Jackson until 2015. Yeah. So 2015. First of all, 2015 was a hard, ugly year for me. Um, my father was in the final throes of not Alzheimer's. What the hell was it? Alzheimer's. My father was in the final throes of Parkinson's disease, and I suspect he had Lewy body dementia too. Um, so there was a complete mental breakdown, complete personality change, and on top of that, my dad had PTSD from the war. Also, why he was mad about Germany because he was in Nuremberg freeing the Jews from concentration camps. So he saw a lot of stuff and he mentioned a lot of stuff, but I know that he saw worse that he did not mention. Um, but I'm not going to go in depth into that because I don't want to bring down a fun video. So unfortunately, my father passed away March 26, 2015. My mother had passed in 2008. So I had to deal with that. I'm an only child, so I had to deal with all of that. And it's like hurt and grief and everything like that. And all of a sudden, here comes 3T. So first of all, they had their television show Jackson's Next Generation um, on the Lifetime Network. That's probably the only time I've watched Lifetime in years. Was to watch that little 6 episode docu series. But there were everybody moved on to Twitter. So you know, we're tweeting them. I'm finding friends on Twitter, and they're actually answering us on Twitter. So this was 7 years ago. Um, so you would like tweet different things, little hashtags, and he might put a little smiley face or a thumbs up or something. So there was a little bit of rapport going on, but not like in depth conversations. Like in my mind, still 7 years ago, I'm like, it's just exciting if one of them even likes something that you said. Um, so I'm trying to get it right in my head because I did not prepare for this. I'm just talking off the top of my head. But yeah, so the series I can't remember if they're overlapped or if the series ended and then they started the radio show. Um, I don't know on 3T's end how the radio show came to be, but through this network called LA Talk Radio, they had started a podcast on the radio where you could just listen to them. That dealt with loss and grief, the Power of Love radio show, and to rewind it, in 1994, 3T's mother Dolores um, was taken from them. I'm gonna phrase it that way. Was taken from them by her then boyfriend, and he's still in jail for it. And I hope he stays in jail, cause um, I always think about it like my mother died, but it was something I knew that was coming because my mother was ill, and that was just something that was expected. To have a person suddenly not there because somebody else took them. Um, I can't even imagine that pain, that heartache, that just that trauma that you have to carry with you. Like I carry, you know, sadness and everything about my mother's passing, but I knew it was gonna come. Like I knew that it was going to happen. This was just they woke up to their mother not being there anymore. Um, so they wanted to start the show to open up the discussion about death and grief because I'm not sure how it is with other cultures, but in American culture, um, nobody really wants to talk about death. Nobody really wants to talk about, the grieving process or different ways of grieving or dealing with grief and all that sort of stuff. Um, Especially my father. My father lived to 88, and I couldn't even discuss funeral arrangements. He was 88. I couldn't even discuss that because I guess dad thought I was trying to kill him or trying to get his insurance money, which there was none. And he just was so strongly against even talking about that sort of thing. So, when he passed, I basically was, you know, on my own trying to figure out how to put my father away nicely. So, it was, first of all, it was just cool to even have them, being this open and, this vulnerable with an audience, um, talking about it. And I mean, people would stay up all over the world to like the wee hours of the morning in their particular country just to hear this. So when I started, the it was all three of them at first. Eventually Terrell left. He just decided to step back from the organization and step back from, the podcast and all that sort of stuff. We hope he comes back. We miss him. Come back, Terrell. But um, one of the very first shows that they did, TJ said that, at some point they were going to open the phone lines. So while he's saying we're going to open the phone lines, yours truly is Googling. And I found the phone number a full 2 to 3 weeks and had it saved to my phone um, before they even started taking calls. And I called in, um, like, I think the same day that they opened the phone lines, I called in because it was three of us arguing. It was me, my friend Sequoia, and I can't think who the third person was, but it was three of us arguing back and forth. And um, um, I assumed that when you call in, I thought that it would be like normal radio shows where they have somebody like a middleman who patches you through. No, TJ Jackson answered the phone. And he was like, this is the Power of Love. This is TJ speaking. Who am I talking to? And you could actually hear me swallow my damn phone because I went, uh, when I called in. So I started calling in, and like some people would try to call in like every single show, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I was like, um, I limited myself to one, maybe two phone calls per month because it's every Wednesday, so it's like 4 shows a month. And I was just like, yeah, one is enough. I don't want to. I don't. I was afraid that they would get tired of me and not want to hear me anymore. So I was like, okay, I can't call in every single time. So they got used to my voice. They got used to hearing me. Um, in the meantime, I'm also like communicating with them in the background on Twitter. I just because for me it was just like they would always go to Europe. They would always play Europe. They would always entertain in Europe, and I was like, I gotta show them that this is me talking. I'm like, I gotta show them that, there's an American fan base here, that they do have people in their home country. Um, and it was a crowd of us. It was like me, my friend Sequoia, my friend April, my friend Alicia, may she rest in peace. Um, my friend Carol. We're all United States based. And there's plenty more people. I just can't name everybody right off the top of my head, but it's a decent amount of people stateside. Um, so okay, we're steady going, we're steady going. So in the meantime, they're steady performing, they're steady doing this stuff. I'm boiling because I'm like, I can't go. I really can't go because I'm a dialysis patient. So my health unfortunately has to come first, which sucks. But my kidneys failed in 2009. That's another long story for another day. But it said it kept going and going and going. So at some point, Michael Jackson's oldest son, Prince, started his Heal LA um, charity at the same time, which 3T have the Dee Dee Jackson Foundation, which is named in honor of their mother. And I'm not really sure, which is terrible to say. I'm not really sure what the purpose behind Heal LA is. I'm sure it's just to like, you know, help children in need, help, impoverished kids and, inner city youths. And I know the Dee Dee Jackson Foundation has their workshops where they help children with like through music. Music, music heals, music helps. They're gonna hate me because I can't remember what it is. And it's something music. Music heals or music helps, where they, you know, use music as an outlet to help children who are grieving. Which I think is, just awesome to, even extend that service to help children, you know. I think that's just really noble, um, and wonderful of them to do that. So, okay, um, I'm trying to think because I've been talking for almost 30 minutes now, and I'm thirsty. But so a few years ago, they started having a charity party called Thriller Nights that they hold in Encino, California. And the proceeds from that go to benefit Heal LA and the Dee Dee Jackson Foundation. So, um, it's expensive to go, but at first when you hear the price, I'm not gonna disclose the price, but when you hear the price, you're like, God, that's a lot. But I went there and seeing how it was orchestrated and how everything went, it was money well spent. And I'm planning to go back for October 2023, God willing. Um, so I was actually supposed to go in 2020. I have a friend named Kat. She lives in Dallas. I'm in Beaumont, Texas. She's in Dallas. And, she wanted, just out of the goodness of her heart, to pay for me to go. Because she knew, how big this was to me, how much I wanted to see 3T, how much I wanted to meet 3T, all that sort of stuff. So, this is when the gears really start turning. So, 2 years ago, she was waiting on a settlement from something. I don't want to, talk about her business. So, she's waiting on, whatever it was she was waiting on to happen. And, um, she was like, well, we're going to go 2020. So at first, I started talking to TJ. I was able to email TJ. And, I was like, oh, my friend and I are going to be coming out for the party 2020. We can't wait to see you, can't wait to meet you, blah, blah, blah. And, he's like, oh, I can't wait to see you. So I asked TJ at the point, um, is it possible for me to meet you and your brothers? And he's like, just give me a date and I'll try to work on it. And I was like, okay, fine. Then COVID happened. COVID really came to freaked up everything for everybody. There was a party. The party got canceled because, it was a health hazard. You couldn't, you know, be at an open air party. So, I mean, you couldn't go to a party because, I mean, it would be people in close proximity, dancing together, eating together, drinking together, just all in each other's faces. I mean, they couldn't do that. It was too much of a health hazard. So it had to be canceled. So, excuse me. Um, yeah. So, that was a bummer, but I mean, like, we couldn't do that. And then, like I said, one of my friends passed away, my friend Alicia. She actually contracted COVID, and, it took her, and that was heartbreaking. Um, so, that couldn't help him, but I kept that line of communication open. I was like, okay, so, COVID's not going to last forever. And so hopefully, eventually, the party will be back on at some point. And, I said, well, I've opened these channels. I don't want to let them close on me. So, excuse me. So I kept just in the background regularly, just shooting a hello to Taj, shooting hello to TJ. Um, Terrell was doing his own thing, so he's not really replying. I just think that he's like on a sabbatical for himself right now, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. Like I said, we miss you, man. Come back. But just to put it into perspective, how kind 3T are and how they care. I don't care how I look. My health is very fragile. Um, I've had to have multiple surgeries. I almost bled to death in my home because my arm ruptured and shot blood all across my bathroom. Um, and anytime I was in the hospital, 3T would be tweeting me and texting me, and they're like, we're praying for you, we're rooting for you, you got us in your corner. What celebrity does that? Like, who takes time from my arm ruptured in 2019? TJ Jackson was just starting to start recording for his solo career. And he took the time to step away to text me and say, we're praying for you. My own damn family didn't come see about me. That's all I'm going to say about that. My family did not come see about me, and I have not spoken to my family in 3 years because of that. I could have died. He took the time away from recording an album to see about my little nobody ass here in Texas. Um, so okay, I survived that, thankfully. So it came time around to do 2022. So my friend finally got her settlement, and she was totally supposed to come with us. And at the last moment, she came ill. So I totally thought, okay, she's sick. The trip is off. We're not going. And I mean, I bought my costume. I bought everything. I bought my hair. This is actually the hair that I was wearing when I met Todd. My ring light died. Okay, no ring light. It died. May it rest in peace. So, so you know, Kat was ill. I didn't think that we were going to be able to go. So Kat was like, "No, Tiffany, you've worked too hard on this. Um, I'm sending you anyway." She paid for me to go to to Encino to the party to meet the Jackson family and everything like that. So, Kat, thank you, and she's planning to come with me to the party for 2023. So I can't wait to meet her and hug her and just throw her in the air and thank her. So yeah, there's that. So she completely out of the goodness and kindness of her heart um allowed me to be able to go. And that was a big step for me because I'm scared to fly. But I was just like, this is probably never going to happen again. Get your ass on the plane, Tiffany. I flew. Somebody threw up on the plane. It was not me, but somebody did. And my friend Carol, like I said, another just like God sent. Um, she let me and my friend Ebony came with me. She let us stay with her, and she was so hospitable. She was so nice. She wouldn't let us pay for anything. Um, I just keep telling myself I would not have known these people or even met these people, um, if it wasn't for 3T, if it wasn't for, the radio show, which is now a live video every week because they left the studio and never went back. I don't know why, but they just didn't. Um, so you see them every Wednesday now. So okay, so now ideally, because and I see this as a blessing in disguise. With me being on dialysis, I was supposed to have scheduled um at least a treatment while I was in Encino, but because planning and everything was just like so helter skelter, I was unable to have dialysis the 4 days that I was in Encino, which I'm still paying for now. In dialysis, which I'm still paying for now, which I don't know if it looks it, but I have too much fluid on me at the moment. I have about 5 kilos too much fluid on. Um, so I was unable to have treatment and dialysis in Encino. So, but I'm the way that I'm thinking about it now, if I would have been in dialysis, um, when I got the text from Taj Jackson, I probably would have ripped the needles out and ran. So, so what happened was, I'm in Encino, and I texted him, and you know, before I even set foot on the plane at Southwestern to fly to Encino, I had been talking with Taj via Twitter, um, trying to organize this, like when can we meet? Is it possible to meet? I fully walked into this situation saying, if I even see him at the party and he waves, I would, you know, be pleased with that. I'm, any scraps I could get, I'm happy. And, if I could just get, a hey, how are you? Or whatever at the party in costume, whatever, I would have been happy for that. So, get to Encino. And I started texting. I have my phone right here. Um, and I'm going to try to pull up the text messages from him. Because at some point before I left Texas, I was like, is there any way I can get your phone number um, to, you know, keep in communication? And before y'all bombard me, um, he no longer has his phone number. He changed his phone number after that. So I have no way of getting in touch with him anymore. And do not ask me for his phone number because you're not going to get it. I don't even got it. So, but I still have it archived in my messages from when I spoke to him. Let me see if I can pull it up. Here it is. Taj Jackson. Um, very short. Let me see. Okay. So this was um October 27th. Well, the 26th. So I wrote, "Hi Taj, just wanted to let you know that my flight is tomorrow. Ebony and I should be landing around 4 p.m. I think that's 2 p.m. LA time. I'm so excited. This is a dream come true," which is true. So I didn't hear anything. The 27th, which is a Thursday, I said I wanted to let you know we're about to fly. Now, there's two thriller parties. There's one Friday night and one Saturday night. Um, Ebony and I went to one Saturday night. My friend April came from Alabama with her son Trey. Um, and they went Friday night. And my friend Carol went with them Friday night. Friday Friday's party seemed like it was the one that really slapped. So I'm trying desperately to save now to get into that Friday party. So he didn't say anything. He just liked the message that I sent. So I said, "Good morning again." I was just like, can we meet you? Oh, right, because at some point I was on my hands and knees begging, trying to get into the Friday night party. I was like, it's just me and my friend Ebony. It's just two more people. We won't even eat or drink. They're like, we're at full capacity. We can't let you in. I was like, damn. But I was like, okay, fine, we'll go Saturday. I mean, I even asked Taj, and he was like, it's full. So, um, so he asked me what city are we staying in, and we said Encino, which is like freaking ground zero because my friend Carol literally was like a 5 minute drive to the Havenhurst estate. I said, we're in Encino. I said, may I call you? So he said, give him 15 minutes because he was at Havenhurst doing something. So I said, take your time. And I got distracted and let like 30 minutes pass. So finally I asked, may I call you? He said yes. I called him. Um, he never saw how my hands were pouring sweat while I was on the phone. And because I mean, Ebony was sitting on Carol's couch. Carol was in the doorway looking. And I'm standing there and I'm like, the phone in my ear. And, he picks up, he's like, hello. And I'm like, hello, Taj. And I can see my friends going, just, just, just so excited. And, I was like, so this is like morning time. And if I'm right, April is there. April was there. April and her son were there. Um, wait, no, they weren't. Hold on. I gotta get this right in my head. April was still driving in from Inglewood with her son. So, I'm freaking out on the phone. I was like, are we able to meet you? Now, this is before the first party. I'm just like, is it possible to meet you anywhere? And, he was like, he mentioned a Starbucks. So I'm in Encino. I have no idea where in the hell I am. I asked Carol, I said, Carol, do you know where this particular Starbucks is? So she said, yeah, giddy up. So, we were thinking that he wanted to meet right then. He was like, no, can we meet between like 2 and 3? He was like, sure. We were like, sure. So said, okay. So, um, you know, when this happened, Carol had been trying to get dressed. So she's somewhere in her house, undressed, and I'm literally screaming, let's go, we gotta go now, let's go. Let's make it, let's make it. So, um, we get in the car, and so it's me and Ebony in Carol's car, and April and her son in her car. And, we're driving, Carol's leading the way to 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 the Starbucks. So I'm looking. Let me see. Yeah, because I said, because at first I'd asked him, um, should we start towards the Starbucks? No, he was like, not yet. I said, our friend April wants to tag along. I said, okay. And I was like, just four happy girls. Not my dumbass literally did like four little happy faces. Two. He said, okay, you can meet now. So we're driving out trying to get there, and I was like, um, on the way, don't leave a little face. I don't know what the face is called. A little And I said, we're almost there. Don Track, don't leave. So he's like, no worries. So I'm just totally fangirling out in the chat, going, I can't believe this is happening. The little face. And I said, I almost jumped out the car and ran. Almost there. So we're literally 2 minutes from it. What does this man type to me? What does this man send to me? I had to leave with a sad face. Taj Jackson, you will never know how much cussing that one little text did with the entire car. The entire car was screaming and cursing. Then he wrote afterwards, because I mean, I was ready to just jump off the bridge. I was so disappointed. I was like, oh my God, we were too late and he left. And then he wrote, just kidding. Really? Really, Taj? Really? He had us just freaking out in that MFing car. So, and I literally wrote, you made the whole car yell. So we're yeah. So we get there. I had to call him back because we had trouble finding it. Okay, so the Starbucks didn't look like the Starbucks here. Like the Starbucks here is like real utilitarian looking and everything. Um there is we drove right the frick by it because it just looked like another fancy building. So okay. So we get out of the car. This is so freaking funny. We, we get out the car and it's me, Carol, Ebony, April, and April's son's Trey. Um, so I'm starting to get cold feet. Like my hands are sweating. I'm nervous, and we're walking. towards the building because I had a Michael Jackson jacket on, a dangerous Michael Jackson jacket on. Um, and so, I'm just like, I'm just nervous because I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to meet Taj Jackson. And, it's just weird because, like, his posters used to be on my wall as a kid. And, it's just weird, you know, as I'm walking across the parking lot, heading for Starbucks, it just occurred to me, like, dude, you used to have his pictures on your wall. You used to, you know, look up to this person as a kid, and now he knows your name. He's there to meet you, and I was like freaking overwhelmed. So I'm standing there. I got sweaty hands, and suddenly I notice somebody is missing. Now you have four black people and a white woman. A blonde white woman. I see four black people and myself. There's no blonde. Where the hell is Carol? I see I see the back of Carol's head as she was running. She ran as she was running to the Starbucks. She was not going to let Taj leave. She was not going to let that man leave. Thank you, Carol. She was not going to let him leave for anything. So we're walking up. We're walking up. My hands are sweating. And at one point, I was like, I can't do this. I'm too scared. I can't. I don't want to do it. I'm scared. Ebony put her hand on my back, um, shoved me. Because at first, what made me nervous was okay. Ebony's 6 feet tall, so she's much taller than I am. And she's like, "Oh, I can see Tosh." What? You can see him? I swear to God, I couldn't see him because of where he was and me being shorter. I couldn't see him. He was in like some little nook. I could see Carol with her pink shirt on, running off her mouth, and just excitedly talking to him, but I couldn't see him. So Ebony shoved me through the door, shoved my ass right through the door. And at first I still didn't see Dodge. I was looking at Carol because Carol had a bright pink shirt on. So, I look at her and finally, because she's over here, and finally I look over and I see Dodge Jackson. And I know I started jumping up and down. I was like this. I'm like, okay, I'm in a public place. I can't start screaming and crying. So, but I was like, I distinctly remember jumping up and down in place. And I wish I had filmed it better. That's one thing that I definitely want to do when I go back is to film better. Not so shaky, more cohesive. I was just caught up in the moment the whole time I was there the first time. So that's why my filming was jankety. But, there he is. It's like, what the? It was just like Twilight Zone music started playing because I was like, this can't possibly be real. And, there he is. And he's as freaking Taj could be. Black cap, black sweatsuit, sneakers. He even had the little backpack. And, you know, he knew who I was. He came over, he was like, "Hi, Tiffany." And he came and hugged me. And I was just like, oh my God. It's just like, I'm freaking hugging Taj Jackson. Like, I'm freaking meeting Taj Jackson. And, he's going around hugging and shaking hands with everybody. And, you know, it was insane. And he's like, um, let's take some pictures. So, Carol, I don't know if she used my phone or what she used. She used somebody's phone to take a group picture. Um, and I'm standing right next to Taj, right? And he has the cap on. So y'all have seen the picture of, the group photo, him with the cap on. He was like, "Nah, let me take the cap off so, we can get the braids." Because I can see his braids hanging out the back of the hat. But, you don't just reach up and take somebody's hat off. So he was like, "No, let me take my hat off." And he just, shook the braids out. And I was just like, is this real life right I was like, is this real life right now? And so we took some pictures inside. And he was like, let's take some pictures outside. This is his suggestion. This isn't us talking. This is his suggestion. And we're like, okay. Oh my god. So we're taking pictures. We're just got stars in our eyes and so ecstatic and everything. And I gifted him um a horror story that I'd written called Madness, and he seemed pretty excited about it. When he found out he was possessed, he was like, "I get possessed," and I was like, "Yeah, you do," which he did in the story. And April gave him a gift for, I think it was some books for his little daughters because he has two little girls, and I thought that was real sweet too. That was really cute. But we took pictures and then we went back inside. He was like, "Let's get some coffee." I was like, "Okay, cool." Now I had my bank card with me to get my coffee, whatever. So Taj is like, he was already, he went straight to the counter and started ordering. So he turned around, he was like, "What do you want?" I was like, "Oh, venti caramel macchiato." I think that's what I ordered. And he went around getting it. So I was about to pull my card out. I see him swipe the card. I was like, "No, this man did not just." I was like, "No, he did not just treat all of us to coffee. No, the freak he did. Well, except for Ebony. Ebony got a tea because she doesn't drink coffee." I still don't know how you survive, Ebony, but that's just a different story for a different day and a different argument. But yeah, he treated us to coffee. Insane, just absolutely insane. Sitting there talking to him. He stayed for about maybe 30 minutes because he got a coffee for himself and a coworker, and it was crazy. It was just so nice and so sweet, and he took pictures with us. He spoke to us. It was surreal. It was nutty. So yeah, my friend Ebony took this photo um with her phone. Yeah, me and Taj, and he's even more gorgeous in person. So that was really cool. Cause I mean, I know like when you see pictures of celebrities, it's always Photoshop and everything. He looked exactly like how his pictures looked, and it was ridiculous. It was just he was handsome. He's really handsome. Oh, and I told him that, Terrell was my favorite. I don't know where Terrell was, but Taj is my new favorite now. Yes, Taj is my new favorite now. And I mean that. I said it twice. Um, yeah, so that happened, and then there was a party the next night. We kept running into Taj at the party. Cause like me and Ebony were they had a thing set up to look like the theater from Thriller because it was a Thriller 40 anniversary party also. And we're just walking along, and like I said, Ebony's tall, so Ebony got like a freaking bird's eye view of everything. I'm busy looking at looking at the front of the building, and I hear her say Taj, because I was filming. I heard her say Taj. I look up, there's a teddy bear, and it's Taj. So, he gave us a hug and everything. He was like, "Enjoy the party and all." So he disappeared, and I noticed he stayed in a little back corner um, for most of the party. And we walked over and found him because we were trying to find as many people as we could, as many celebrities, as many people off, the internet that we knew. Um, so we got over to him, and this is a autograph from Tosh. It says to Tiffany, so happy to finally meet you in person. Taj. And, I got to give him a kiss on the cheek. I asked. Everybody keeps saying about that. I have a video because Ebony did not photograph me like I asked her to. So part of the mission in going back in next October is to get a still photograph that I can frame of me kissing Taj's cheek. I have one of me kissing TJ. Um, but yeah, he was nice, and I have the video. It's on YouTube. Um, so that you can see it. Um, I met Taj, ran across him several times at a party. Met his wife Tiana. Very beautiful, very sweet woman. Just amazing. Met TJ's wife Frances too. Like I said, beautiful, amazing. That's all me and Ebony were talking about on the way back home was how beautiful these women were in real life. Like we'd seen pictures of them and like, yeah, they're gorgeous in pictures, but like to meet them, shake their hands and hug them and it's not just they're beautiful outside, they're beautiful inside too. Um, they were all wonderful, beautiful people. I could just go on for days and days and days, but I've been talking for almost an hour. But yeah, just seeing them, it was just a wonderful feeling. Like I can tell, I hope I don't cry, cause like I said it several times that this was really the first time in my life. I'm 36. This is the first time in my life that I felt like I was someplace where I belong, where I wasn't the odd one out. Like everybody else there was like, a 3T fan, a Michael Jackson fan. I wasn't weird because I liked Michael Jackson. Um, I really felt like I belonged, and to have other fans. I'm really trying not to cry because I'm wearing a lot of makeup, but to be welcomed by other fans, to be welcomed so warmly by like Taj and his wife, TJ and his wife. Um, so sweet. I mean, Frances, that's TJ's wife. She literally stood and talked with me and Ebony for like 15 minutes straight, and I never been hugged so much in my life. But yeah, that just such grounded, kind, sweet people, and I felt more accepted with these people who had never met before than I did my own family. Like they were more open and more accepting and more, just nice to me than my own blood, which says a hell of a lot. But yeah, that's the story of how I met Tosh Jackson. um, I already did the video of how I met TJ, but I mean, there's still so many other people. Excuse me. I met Prince. I met um, Carl O'Reilly. He's a very famous Michael Jackson tribute artist. I have his photo framed just off screen on my coffee table. But yeah, just so much. And I mean, every so often I just have to stand and look at this and be like, this really happened because it really feels surreal. It really feels like, I fell through the looking glass or whatever. That it just seems like this was all a dream and that this didn't happen. But I do have the proof that it happened. And, you know, I enjoy it so much. And it's wonderful. Oh, and for the four different people who asked me, no, I am not related to the Jackson family that I'm aware of. I'm not related to them. Because even when I was in Encino, running around to Office Depot, printing off the copies of the story for Josh and TJ, the lady who was doing it, she asked me, she's like, "Are you related to the Jacksons?" I'm like, "No, I'm not." I can't sing, so I'm not talented enough to be in that family. The only thing I'm really talented at is writing, so that's me. Yay! But yeah, thank you to everybody who made this happen. Um, Carol, April, Kat, Tosh, TJ, Prince, everybody. Thank you so much. And okay, so this is part two of my series, and I think part three, um, I will say how I met Prince Jackson. So stay tuned for that. As always, thank you for watching because I know this is extremely long. Thank you for watching. Um, I guess what is that? Subscribe and hit the little notification bell if you want to follow me. um, and don't forget to stream something Jackson. All right. And I'm wanting to get the next one out before Christmas, but if I don't get it out by Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year. All right, thank you. Bye. And I'm sorry my light died.